truth is scattered. The seeker gathers.
Welcome back to the show. It's the Wandering Seeker, Andrew Hall, aka Mud. Today, the discussion is on topics relating to my book, Attention and the Birth of Meaning, on the value of existence. So, this topic is something that a lot of thinkers across history, across cultures, across philosophies, across all scopes of thought have wrestled with. And most people move through the world as if they already understand it, as if knowing the name of something, knowing that this is a bottle of water by the name the words that we give to it. Words are just placeholder for the structure and possibilities of the thing. That way we don't have to sit here and explain what water is. We should already know. When I say water, you should know what water is, because I've taken the definition of it and placed it into one word alone. So if we had to explain everything, then nothing would matter, because you're gonna be rambling on forever with words that have no meaning. So everything has to get simplified down into symbols, because that's how our minds comprehend things. So I say water, you understand water hydrates things. Water is used to cleanse the body. Water is used, you know the uses of water. You understand the uses. And then you say this is a bottle of water, so you understand what the capabilities of this bottle of water is. So the true meaning of this we already understand that. We understand that. But where's the value of that meaning? That value is when I get thirsty and I need a drink. As right now, I'm gonna get me a little drink. But that's when the value of it becomes something meaningful to me. That's when the meaning for me and my reality and what's real to me about this water actually takes birth. Actually, is birthed and emerges. It emerges when the necessity for it, my necessity, interacts with the meaning of this. So the value emerges as my reality is exposed to this through the experience that I have with the said subject. And it's not just water alone. It's anything. We have to understand that things are things because they're not something else. A distinction is what gives definition and meaning to something else. So, like, if I was walking through a field, I see a rock on the ground. It's not a tree because it's a rock, because its characteristics, its possibilities, and its defining edges, how the sun hits it, how light hits it, how shadows are formed around it, the actual physical characteristics of it makes it a rock. Now, I use the word rock for the rock because that's what we have came to know what a rock is by name, not by definition, by name. The definition is the defining factors that distinguish it from everything else that surrounds it. It's hard, it's solid. You have a rock in the grass, you're going to tell that rock is there if it's sitting on top of the grass, because it's not green, it's not blades of grass, it's a rock. So that's how we understand how we distinguish things. And when we can have a distinction between what is and what isn't, then we can start to form a relationship around that. Once that relationship is formed around that and our attention is brought to that relationship, then we can start to form some type of meaning behind what that object is. There's no inherent meaning to me. If this bottle of water was not on my table, it was on your table, it wouldn't have no actual meaning for me. It would hold meaning and its capabilities, its possibilities for some, for it has a reason, but the meaning of this bottle of water is because I have it right here in front of me, so I can use it. So that's my interaction with the capabilities and the possibilities of this emerge the meaning and the value of it. And existence itself could not. This leads me into this. This whole book leads through all this, and this is a rough idea of what's going on in the book. But all this leads, like, having to have just hold on, having to have some kind of distinction, right? Having to have to be able to form a relationship to something, we have to be able to distinguish it from something else. But what gives rise to the fact that there is even multitude of things? There has to be a field in which all of this generates. There has to be a fundamental underlying source in which all these things can have their distinguishing factors and their principles. Because if not, then we would just be, how could I say it? We would just be in this existence, and everything would be us. But everything can't be us. We can't be everything at once. But a source that generates all of this can be everything at once. There's a fundamental characteristic that is beyond our comprehension. I've talked about this over and over again in my videos, how I understand this. So basically, there's an absolute source. There has to be some source, some singularity in which everything else unfolded. There has to be a single point, I feel, and everything I've studied and experienced, that there has to be a single point from which everything else began, from which everything was given its purpose. For me to get thirsty. What made me to get thirsty? What made that part of who I am, that I get hungry and I get thirsty? And we can argue about which, is it God? Is it evolution? Is it random? Is it chance? Well, either way it goes, there has to be something there to give rise to multitude of things, of possibilities. So with all that being said, I want to draw back to this idea of attention. So in life, things have meaning, right? Like we've explained. But what is real to you is what's in front of you, what you attend to, what your attention is perceiving. Your awareness of something internal has to desire something external, and your awareness and your attention, that's where your responsibility is. Your responsibility is in what you attend to. There's multitude of different paths and multitude of different things in existence. What you look at, what you perceive, what you drive towards, what you move forward to, that's what you become. What you attend to is what you become. And that we could take this down many different roads, many different paths. That's why I wrote a book. That's why I wrote the book, so you guys can see where my mind was at when I got to thinking about this. Because this all started with a Facebook post. Somebody posted on Facebook asking the question that led to me, deciding to sit there for a week or two, just writing out my thoughts constantly, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Just, I literally spent a lot of time just writing this out. So, I've had a lot of time to think about these things. And I had to look back. And one thing really one thing really stands out when I'm thinking about attention and how attention is what brings meaning to life. And that is the verse in Matthew. It's in chapter 6. I think it's verse 21, I believe. It says, if thine eye be single, then the whole body be full of light. Something, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the Bibles over there, but I'm not going to pull out. So, if thine eye be single, thy whole body be full of light. And then it goes on to say, if your perception is, if you're trying to serve two masters, so if you're trying to attend to this and attend to that, and you're distracted, if you're distracted, then you'll be full of darkness. You won't have awareness. You're going to be distracted by two different things. So that really kind of sat with me a little bit when I was researching awareness, attention, and I got to thinking about it a little bit deeper. And that line really does, if you're Christian or not, that line really does speak truly to what meaning and value is. Because if you think about the single eyes and think about it in its poetic way of saying attention, what do you attend to? What are you seeing? What are you looking at? What are you perceiving? What are you bringing your awareness to? If it's single, if you have one goal, one path, or it only, there's many paths. Obviously, I'm a wandering seeker, so there's many paths. But if I have a goal in mind, if I have something I have to get done, or I'm going towards something, I have to keep my mind on one thing. And in my whole search and everything that I've studied and everything I do, my search has always been a single truth. What is the purpose to existence? What is the meaning to this life that I live? What gives rise to the things that I desire? But the whole time, it's on how to be a good person, how to be a steward on earth. That's something that I've resonated with this entire time. No matter what path I'm looking at, what religious book I'm looking at, I find that same fundamental thing within every conversation about life is be how to be a good person, basically, how to treat others with kindness, but also how to know yourself. That's like one of the biggest things is being aware of yourself. You got to be aware of yourself and have attention placed on your own inner self, who you truly are, in order to have meaning. So not only does this water have to be, I don't have to perceive this water, I don't have to, I have to perceive this water, but I also have to perceive myself. I have to know myself in order to know that, hey, I need a drink. But I also need to know myself to say I'm in a situation where it's getting chaotic around me. There's a lot going on. Danger could be somewhere. I have to know myself in order to navigate that situation. And I have to know myself too, is I have to be humble. Like I could be walking by a homeless guy who's thirsty and I have the water. But I know that I have the funds or I have a way to get more water. If he's that thirsty, he needs the water, I'm going to give the water to him because it has more meaning for him at the moment than it has for me, because I know how to go get more water. I have ability to go get more water. So it's not only about me. I have to know myself in order to treat others with kindness, because I have to know myself so much. I have to know myself that I can be humble in the face of others. In even when I'm defeated, I have to know myself in order to rise back up. If I don't know myself, then I'm going to be pessimistic, and I'm going to think, I'm going to fall into a nihilistic mindset and think, there's no meaning, no value, everything sucks, it's all over. I'm not going to have no optimism at all in order to rise above those struggles. So I have to keep my eye on one thing, and that's take care of myself and take care of others. So yeah, that's basically the gist of what I got going on with this book. It's actually deeper, a lot deeper than that. I know I'm all over the place. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. All right, I'm not gonna go about that. Anyway, keep your mind clear, as clear as you can, in order to see and perceive reality as it unfolds before you. If you are cluttered up here and your perception is blurred, then how are you going to clearly perceive what's unfolding in front of you? You have to keep your mind set on what it is that it needs to accomplish in order for you to unfold some kind of meaning within the reality in which you are. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Well, I got my show notes. Hold on, because I have one thing. So this I want to leave you with. That's why I scrolled down my notes, because this question I wrote right here. This is the real question. Not just what is the world, but what are you actually seeing and why? That's what I want you to answer in the comment section below. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, and follow me for more. I'm going to have a lot more of these discussions very, very soon. Plan on doing this more often than I have. I'm going to set a schedule and try to stick with it. So look out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I should have a video every Tuesday and every Thursday, and possibly bonus ones in between that. But I love y'all, man. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for watching the video all the way through. It's just going to get better. That's all I'm saying. It's just going to get better. All right, man. Love y'all, man. Peace out. May your day be great. Answer that question. What are you actually seeing and why? Why are you seeing what is unfolding in front of you? Is it destiny or is it just chance? What is it? What's going on in the world and why are you part of it? Why are you perceiving it? What caused your attention to look that way? All right, y'all. I'm out.